So let me quickly get to our viewer. I think we have Anubha with us on the phone line. Anubha, hi. Welcome to Let's Talk Money. What's your question?
Hi, I'm Anubha Rao. As a retail investor, how do I differentiate between quant funds as they have very complex methodologies that I may not have the means and the knowledge to understand?
Excellent question, Anubha. And I think, I don't know how many people ask this question before investing, but it's a very good question, right? Because now in passives, this is the underlying index. This is how this fund is supposed to function. What about quant strategies?
So ideally a quant strategy which is transparent and gives across its processes, because there are only basically 4 decisions that any fund takes. What it buys, what it sells, how much it weighs, and how often do you run the same process again and again. So these are the only 4 things that anybody has to really pay attention to. Be it in an active fund also, you do focus on these 4 decisions. It's just that it is masked by a human fund manager who provides these answers. So as long as there is a product which explains how each of these 4 decisions are done and lays it out to you, you get a broad sense as to what the process being followed out here, right? Which may apply to, say, maybe 90-95% of all use cases. There'll always be some use cases where, because of the benefit of the fund manager, there will be some interventions, if you may. It's like saying that, if I talk about aviation, and that's a great example of man-machine collaboration. It might surprise you and your viewers that in a typical flight of 72 minutes, not more than 3 minutes actually the pilot is manually controlling. The rest of the time is autopilot. And yet, none of us would be comfortable in going into a plane without a pilot. There are certain edge cases, there are certain use cases where the machines can freeze, when they can get overwhelmed by conflicting data, so much amount of data. That is where the expertise of the pilot or the human fund manager comes in to handle these turbulences so that the machine doesn't get overwhelmed. Right? So therefore, you need to get a sense of both the rules of these 4 decisions, which are reasonably straightforward.
Buying, selling,
weighing,
the weightage of stocks in the portfolio, and the churn.
And the churn, and how often do you keep doing the same process. It's not very complicated. And therefore, once you get these 4, and what is the level of confidence that you have on the pilot? Who's going to intervene, and when are they likely to intervene, then you have a reasonably simple way of understanding how one...
I think that's a great analogy. So know the pilot, try and understand the flight path, and then you can perhaps board the flight. So, very quickly, Harish, I'm given to understand, I think right now, if you put all quant funds in India together, I think the total assets under management may be around, 6,000 crores? Would that be right?
That's right.
Typically, as of now, and this is a newer industry, right? I think just 3-4 years old. So which are the major filters or factors that most quant funds in the market are deploying or employing? Strategies could be different, but what are some of the key pillars on which these strategies are resting today?
Right. So almost everyone focuses on any of these 5 factors that I laid out, which is primarily you've got value factor, size, you've got volatility or low volatility as a factor, you've got quality as a factor, and then you've got momentum as a factor. So it's a mix and match. Now, the point is, it is not about how much you are weighing, 25% to this factor, 30% to this factor. It is like a recipe. Right, even if I tell you that, a dish has these 5 things, the reality is how these 5 are and in what stage do you include each of them matters a lot more than just providing you a cheat sheet saying that, okay, you have to take 1 teaspoon of this, 5 teaspoons of this. Still, you may get a very different dish. If you try it at home, which is why like I said, if you focus on those 4 decisions, okay, buy, sell, weighing, and rebalance through the lens of any of these factors, okay, you will broadly get the answer as to how the dish is finally going to get cooked. Okay. Now, of course, in the hands of a chef, it might get cooked slightly differently. Okay, that is the human element that comes through it. But it's not going to be chalk and cheese. It's not that you're going to set up making some paneer and you get something else altogether. Right? So,
I'm loving the analogies here as well. I think they're really simplifying the whole concept of quant funds and how one should look at them.
Make informed decisions with comprehensive analysis on the go.
Strengthen your portfolio with real-time market updates on the go. Create effective strategies with insightful expert opinions on the go.
Grow on the go with CNBC-TV18, now streaming live 24/7 on YouTube.